Hello everybody, welcome to part 2 of my epic unboxing for 2018-2019. And if you watched part 1, then you saw my introduction or heard my introduction on that video as to why I'm just now editing my unboxing for 2018, since I actually filmed this back in September. But if you are only watching the Timberdoodle portion of this, then quickly, I just honestly got that filmed, and then we had a death in the family, and so it was my husband's mother, my mother-in-law, who passed away. And so she was local to us, and so it was a hard time, and we had a lot of obligations that came with that, and so I just never got around to editing it. And so wondering whether or not it was really even worth doing, because it's been so long since I filmed it. But I decided that since this is the time of year that everybody's really doing their research on curricula for the next, the upcoming school year, I thought, I'm going to go ahead and edit it. And so this is part 2. This is all about Timberdoodle. It's the full Elite Kit. I will go into my thoughts about everything that's here. It's obviously not a full review, but there are items here that are going back to the school that we're not using. And so at the end of the year, I will review the items that we did use. But in the meantime, hopefully this gives you a chance to get a peek at something within the kit, and maybe hopefully will help you make some decisions if that's what you're trying to do for choices for the upcoming school year. So thank you so much for coming by today, and I will now close out my intro here and get into the rest of the video. Okay, so now let's talk about Timberdoodle. They sent me an entire Elite Kit. They know that I'm not going to be using all of it, so I'm going to be taking the pieces that we're not going to be using and bringing that back to the school, and they'll hold those for other students who may come into the program late, or who try something that they've ordered and it's not a good fit. So they have some materials there that people can choose from. So I will go through all the items and kind of go through what they are and why we use them or why we don't. So anyway, you always get this handbook with the curriculum. This is 3rd grade. It gives you a week-by-week overview. It gives you a reading challenge, and it gives you a light reader, the avid reader, and literally it's just telling you books, topics. Like the challenge would be to find books at the library that, for instance, a book about religion for someone who professes a religion, a book written by an author with an initial in his or her name, blah, 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 blah. So committed reader, the obsessed reader. Yeah, that'd be a lot of books. Okay, so then it talks about the items in the kit based on subjects. So this is language arts, and what is included in language arts, and then it goes through the whole thing. And then they use a checklist system with their curriculum instead of a schedule. So you can go onto their website and download this checklist based on the kit that you're using, and then you can delete or add things in as you want. And basically it'll break it down so that if you were to want to finish all the items in the kit, it'll tell you how many times a week your student has to do it. And we have definitely benefited from that checklist system. I've got videos that talk about how we use the checklist system and how it's worked for us. And we got the idea from Timberdoodle. And I really prefer that over a daily schedule, because inevitably you put out a daily schedule, something's going to screw it up. And then you stress out because you didn't finish your schedule. So the checklist gives you a lot more flexibility, and we really like it. Oh my goodness, this video is going to be long, so forgive me. Just a lot of stuff here. Okay, so Timberdoodle uses SpellingYouSee for their spelling, and this is what comes in the spelling. This is level D. We have really enjoyed this. Love it. Absolutely love it. This has made my son an excellent speller. Now this is going to be really random order because I just threw this stuff up here and all I did was put my sets together, but I didn't really, I'm not going in any particular order. This is one of their logic games, and this is called Circuit Maze. And it looks like they get these puzzle cards and they have to put the circuits in order to solve the puzzle. Just phenomenal. Learning by doing. That is important to me. And it's a highlight of our day to do those. Okay, Story of the World. This is their go-to history in the secular kits. I think they do Mystery of History in the Christian ones. And we tried Story of the World, but I couldn't get him engaged in Story of the World. We had to go to something different, which is why we ended up with the Book Shark and then now the Beautiful Feet. I just get a lot more engagement when he's reading the material than when I'm reading it to him. So, and if we've got something visual to look at. So this did not work well for us, but I know a bunch of people who love this program. But you get the audio CDs, you get the story itself, which is what you read from to your student, and then the activity book. And this actually has lots of cool stuff to do, but again, just wasn't the best fit for us. Okay, these are just a little, they always include some books, some reading books in their curriculum. It's not a full reading program or a full-on, you know, yeah, not a full reading curriculum, but they include some cool books. And so True Stories of the Revolutionary War, this fits right in with the American history graphic novel, and so I'm very excited about that. Swiss Family Robinson, again, another graphic novel. I just love it that they include graphic novels because it really is a great way to get, especially a reluctant reader, to want to read. So there you go there. All right, Critical and Creative. This is pretty new to Timberdoodle. We've never used it. I'm kind of interested to see how it goes. They usually have a game for this, but this time they put, for this 3rd grade, they did this workbook. So we'll see how this goes, but it's all a real variety of exercises to get them to think. And like I said, they're emphasize thinking skills a lot, and I appreciate that. 6th Trait Writing. I mentioned this earlier. This is what comes with the Timberdoodle. It's a 5-day curriculum. The first 4 days they're doing a worksheet. The 5th day they get a writing prompt, and they have to write. And we kept this in the kit so that we could use it for practice. So it would probably be fine as a standalone as well, but we didn't use it right, so I really can't attest to that. But yeah. Geography. Okay, this, they've always had Evan Moore for geography, and I've always really liked it. My son's always really liked it, but it was a different book in the previous years. And it really focused in on map reading skills, which was fine, except it just seemed like it was a lot of map reading skills. I mean, like it would just really, every lesson was in some way, shape, or form talking about map reading. And so I think they realized that we needed a little more variety there, you know, places and environments, map skills, and then different projects. So this, I think, is going to be better. This is the first time I've actually looked at it. I haven't flipped through this before. Here's some maps. Okay, there we go. See, we're talking about biomes. Photobombing by the kitty. Okay, no. You don't need this. Okay, so Yellowstone, so it's talking about different places and regions, physical systems, human systems. This is definitely a lot broader in scope, so I'm looking forward to that. And he's always really enjoyed these workbooks. So, okay, first language lessons for the well-trained mind. This is if you like Charlotte Mason style, then you would probably really like this. And we used this for the last 2 years, this program, and in those first and second grade, it's just one book. And my son loved this, actually. It worked really well for us. The problem is it requires interaction with me throughout the whole lesson every single day. And so when I saw this has a separate student and teacher manual, and that it was going to be this big, this thick, we're talking about sentence diagramming. I was looking at reviews on this, and I was seeing that a lot of people felt like it was just that their kids just didn't enjoy it. So at this level, I decided that I wanted to substitute easy grammar. So there was a review on a blog where they said that they tried both, and that hands down their kids loved this better. So I used this with my older two, and we really liked it. So I thought I would try it here. Normally you don't get the student workbook, but I asked that we get it because this is the teacher manual, but it has the answers on the opposite side of the same answers that go with this page are on the opposite facing page. So if you were to cut the spine and tear the sheet out or have the sheet separate, it'd be fine because the answers on the back of the sheet go with the next lesson and they wouldn't see that. But if they're working out of the book, they're going to see the answers. You have to cover it up with paper, it can fall off, they can see through it, whatever. So it's just easier to work with the student workbook. There's nothing fun about these pages, just black and white, but the lessons are very to the point. No over explanation, very to the point. There's no sentence diagramming, and I don't mind sentence diagramming. I just think third grade's a little early for that, so at least for mine. So we'll see about next year, but I want to try this and see how it works for him. Okay, so Timberdoodle has always, has never, I should say, had a reading program in their kits. They've had some phonics stuff, various phonics things, but no reading or literature program. So this year is the first year they've introduced reading and literature. So the early grades have all about reading up through second grade, and that's what we use. So I was always told that if we used Timberdoodle, we had to get a reading program or a phonics program to go with it, and we used All About Reading and just loved it. So I think it's wonderful that they're including it in their kits now. And then starting third grade, they do the Mazdas press, and they don't include, like, if you wanted the level 4 All About Reading, they stop at level 3. So first, second, third, kindergarten, first, second, then has All About Reading 1, 2, and 3. And then they skip the fourth one. So if you want that extra lesson, you may have to substitute that in for this, for third grade. But we've already done level 4, so we didn't have to do that. Now, we have the Book Shark reading, okay? And when I sat down with our teacher on record, I told her, I said, you know, I know they're now including, because this is brand new, like they didn't even, I'd already decided what we wanted to do before they put this in their kit. And so right before we went to order, they switched up their kits and they added this in. So I said, you know, I realize that we have 2 reading programs and we don't need that. I said, but I am really curious about this. And she said, oh, well, then we'll go ahead and get it. I want to know your opinion. Because these teachers, you know, they want to be able to recommend curriculum to people when they have questions. And, you know, having to learn all the different curriculum is really challenging. So it's helpful when people can give their opinions. So I'm excited to get to try this. I don't know a whole lot about it. I have looked through the samples online. This is the first time I've actually had it in my hand. So it comes with two teacher manuals, 2 readers, and this is missing one because I guess they needed the vendor needed to make a change to the second book, and so they're going to ship it later. So this is just the first book that they need, which is going to be a whole semester worth of work. So we got plenty of time. Then the workbook is double-sided. So you have which one is this? This is sunflower. Okay, sunflowers first. So sunflowers on this side. So they go through the workbook here. And then when they get to the second book, then they'll go through this. So, and I've noticed already, look, it's gotten a little more mature in terms of the way it's laid out. Where it starts off, looks like a lot more colorful and kind of, you know, cutesy, yeah. So, but it is a literature program, so there's a story, and then there's, which this is similar to The Good and the Beautiful in the sense that the stories are virtuous and beautiful and engaging, but not dumbed down. They're very, I'm not very good at describing stuff like this. They're supposed to be virtuous, beautiful stories. We're not going to get, you know, potty humor and, you know, disrespect of adults and that sort of thing. It's not a faith-based curriculum, but it's a very virtuous and moral curriculum. Okay, so you've got the story. Then there's a poem, which I guess is optional, but it's just, there's no assignments associated with the poem. And then there's some questions that you can go through with the student. There's another little lesson here. And then, of course, there's the workbook. And then I guess it goes into another story. So, anyway, like I said, this is the first time I've kind of flipped through it. Yeah, I think this is the next unit, or the next lesson. So, I don't know how to schedule this out yet. But I'm excited to try it. It looks rich. It looks beautiful. I'm curious to see if I can keep my son's attention with it. It goes into the things about literature that you need to know, like plot and character analysis, but at their level, you know, how to recognize the beginning, middle, and end, the climax of a story, you know, all that kind of stuff. So it looks beautiful, and I'm curious and excited to try it. Okay, so this was an add-on. I almost forgot to talk about this. When I got the Beautiful Feet and I knew we weren't going to be able to get the instructor guide, which we ended up getting, I think by mistake anyway, but I wanted a spine so I'd know kind of how to use, you know, when to read the books. So this is offered in Timberdoodle. It's a complete set. I think you can get these books separately. In fact, I'm pretty sure, I know you can. So there's 14 books in all, and we only need the first 7 in order to get through the time period that's covered in Beautiful Feet. But this is a chronological order of the United States history in graphic novel format. So what I thought is I could, you know, we could read these together, and when we came across a character that was mentioned and we had a book about him, then we would then stop reading this and go to that so we could dive deeper. And that was my thought process. And they went ahead and just ordered the whole set of books so that they could keep these either for other families or just put it in their library and have some nice content, you know, for kids, because they have a library where kids can check books out. So so this is really cool. If you're looking for an American history standalone, this would be great, because again, graphic novels seem to really capture kids' attention. This is another part of their STEM. It's the puzzle, the 3D world puzzle. So once they put it together, you could actually use it as a globe. So that looks really fun. I'm trying to see if there's any other pictures. Nope, no other pictures. Okay, like I said, random order here. This is a part of the art. Doodle Adventures, The Search for Slimy Space Slugs, and they get to draw the story. So I just love stuff like this, and this is where my son, when he draws, there's always a story to go with it. So I thought this would be perfect for him, because just to have him draw a picture, he can't do it without creating a story around it. And, you know, then he has sound effects like as he's drawing, and then he'll cross out, you know, things in the picture when they die because so-and-so attacked it and blah, blah, blah. So he has a whole story with his pictures every time he draws. So I thought that was really fun. This is a kinesthetic item that they include in their Elite kits. The thinking putty it's a liquid, but it's very dense, so like you can roll it into a ball and actually bounce it like a rubber ball. You can spread it out and make stuff and roll it out and just play with it, and it gives them something to do with their hands if you have a kinesthetic learner, which I guess most young kids have a kinesthetic tendency, because it's hard for them to sit still, you know, so having something that they can do with their hands is always really helpful. But be warned, this stuff will, if it gets into your clothes or your hair or your carpet, it's a liquid, so it literally will ooze into the fibers. Rubbing alcohol will get it out. It's the only thing that will get it out. Rubbing alcohol, 90%. You need it if you get that. Typing. This third grade comes with typing, and I'm excited because my son types all the time. He plays Minecraft with his older brothers, and he has a group of friends that he plays Roblox with, and they will chat with each other, and he's typing, but, you know, I want him to actually learn the proper way to type. This is another STEM item. If you've heard of Scratch, it's an online children's coding website where it's kind of a plug-and-play thing. You can drop commands into this screen, and then you're creating a program. Well, these are actually in cards that give them instructions on what to do, and it sort of, you know, streamlines and gives them an outline of what to do in Scratch. So I'm real excited about that. My computer kid, I think, will really thrive with that. Okay. These are the wrap-ups. We didn't need these because we got them last year. The second grade kit used to have the multiplication wrap-ups. Now I've put it in the third grade kit instead. And I don't know if you're familiar with how these work, but this is your times 1, and it has all the way through to 10. Times 1 times 2 goes all the way through. And then the number, so 2 times 1 is 2. You'd wrap your string around the correct answer on this side. So you multiply on this side times this, your correct answer is over here, and once you wrapped it, it will show you on the back, it's got lines to show the correct answer, so it's self-correcting. They can see whether or not they got the right answers, and if the lines don't match up with the strings, then they know that they got something wrong. So, fun way to drill those math facts without making it too, you know, boring. Okay. This is included in their art for third grade. I think it's a little too much for mine. I had told them that we didn't need this. We could pull this out of the kit, but since they ordered the kit, we got it. So I'll probably give this back. But there's paint by numbers, and they're actually recreating master artwork. So it's not that he couldn't do it. It's just I know by seeing all the little numbers that he's got to paint, he would just be overwhelmed by that. I just don't think he's quite ready for this, but it's beautiful. I wish I could do it. I would love it. Okay, this is another one. It comes with 4. There's the Eiffel Tower and the Starry Night. So those all come in the kit. Don't fall. Don't fall. Okay. Moby Math. This is a cute game. You can, this is, again, is a fun way to learn and drill the math facts without making it boring. So it comes with all these tiles. This unzips and has a bunch of the tiles too. And you can play and race with the math facts, or you can just, you know, use it to just quiz them or have them solve the simple problems, but of course they're drilling and reinforcing their math facts. So that's what that is. Ooh. All right, this is a part of their stem. This looks really, really cool. It looks like it's got a ball and socket type pieces, and then they get challenge cards and they build the different things that are in the cards, or of course you could just do your own thing. So I love these kind of things, and every year they include something like this. Okay. So let's talk about math. Timberdoodle uses MathUSee for their math curriculum. They used to use MathUSee up through 2nd grade, and then starting 3rd grade they switched to teaching textbooks, although they still offered the full MathUSee line of curricula. But teaching textbooks no longer sells their product through any third parties now. So they started doing the online subscription service, so you could do their program online. And so they quit offering their products through third parties. So if you want the CDs for teaching textbooks, you can still get them. You just have to order them through the company. Teaching textbooks through their website or over the phone through them directly. They also have the subscription service, which is a 1-year subscription, I think. I think they were a 9-month subscription. You could extend it to 12 months, or maybe they changed it to 12 months. I don't know. We are using teaching textbooks for my older son, but we just ordered the CDs, so for geometry. Anyway, so right now, MathUSee is the primary offering through Timberdoodle. We used this in 1st grade. It ended up not being a good fit, not because it didn't work. It did work. It was effective, but he was having trouble with the memorizing the math facts. And they really want you to memorize the math facts. And he was getting bored with it because it's a mastery program, so the same concept was taught all the way through until you have mastery. And so just 1 year of, you know, single and double digit addition, subtraction, it just didn't have enough variety. So that's when we decided to use the Schiller Math, and it's been a much better fit. So, but there's no complaints about the program in terms of, it really is a good program. It just wasn't the best fit for us. So it comes with, you know, the student workbook, the DVD, and the answer or teacher manual. It also comes with the manipulatives here. So I don't know if you've seen these before. You probably, so many people have done videos on MathUSee. I don't want to get too much into it, but this is what the manipulatives look like. You can stack these. They do lock together, but these are 100 flats, and of course you can stack 10 of these and make 1,000 block. And these also stack as well, and you have a separate blocks for 1 through 10. So, and they all have its own corresponding color. So it's a really good program. It just wasn't the best fit for us. Of course, this will go back to the school so they can use it for other students. I didn't put that back in there. Oopsies. This is Complete a Sketch 1, 2, 3. It's a DVD art program. And I again thought this was too advanced for mine. He's not an artsy kid. He loves to do arts and crafts, but he's not. It's not his gift that I can tell at this point, at least. So I was gonna have them pulled out of the program, but they wanted to order it because they thought it was cool and other students might want it. Okay, so. I talked about this briefly earlier in my previous video for the building blocks of science. So this is level 3, book 3. There's a teacher manual, a student textbook, and I want to say, yes, a lab notebook. So it comes with these 3 components, does not come with a kit, and this is extremely hands-on. Every lesson in here, because I've looked at this in depth, I thought about seriously switching to it, and I decided to hold off, and I probably will switch to it when he's a little older, because it is so hands-on, and it does go, every lesson revolves around a science experiment. And I really like the concept of it, but as you can see, this lab notebook is pretty intense. I mean, it isn't as much about the content or the amount of writing as it is, list 3 things a plant needs to have in order to live. I don't know, that's not difficult, but what do you think would happen to a plant if it did not get light from the sun? My son has really a hard time with these kinds of questions. It's just part of his, uniqueness. I have to work with him to get him to the place where this would not be frustrating for him. And he improves with maturity, but we're not there yet. I just don't think this would be a good fit for him right now, but this is really good. Now, Home Science Tools does offer a kit for these all the way through. So if you need a kit, I don't believe Timberdoodle offers them right now. I haven't looked recently, but they didn't used to. Home Science Tools did last year develop kits for these, and so I don't know how much they include with each kit, if you're still going to have to purchase a bunch of stuff, but they do offer them. So definitely check out Home Science Tools to get a kit. If you get this, you'll need it, trust me. Or it does do, I say you need that, whatever. Yeah, I mean, it's got a list. Every one of these includes a list of everything you'll need. So it's not like they leave you hanging. You don't have to go through each lesson, figure out what's needed. They do provide that for you. This is broken down by experiment, but you see this? Experiment 5, this is your list. And again, it's very hands-on. If you have a sciencey kid that would love hands-on learning, and mine is like that. He loves science, he loves hands-on learning. It's just a little much at this point, but this tells you everything you need per experiment. It also gives you a list of everything you're going to need, and it's got it broken down by topic. So the foods you're going to need, materials continued, other materials, equipment you're going to need. So it does have it all broken down. So you can take a look at this. They have this as a downloadable PDF on Timberdoodle, like as part of the sample. I'm pretty sure. It's been a while since I researched all this, but either through the building block, either through their website, which is Science for Kids, I think, or whatever. Anyway, you can Google it. You can get a sample of the teacher manual, and I believe in the sample it gives you the list, so you could look at it first if you wanted to. Timberdoodle might also have that PDF as a download. See that, see all the things you need, decide if it's worth it, compare it to what they do with some Home Science Tools, see if it's worth getting the kit or whatever. Anyway, this is the Getty Dubé. That was what I was trying to think of earlier with handwriting. I loved italic handwriting through Getty Dubé. It was just so much easier to learn italic handwriting than it was to learn, okay, for instance, your A is just going to be a fluid motion. This is your A, right? Don't even have to lift the pencil off the paper. If you learn it regular way, you got to circle and then the line. Inevitably, that line ends up way over here. Or it ends up really long, or it ends up, anyway, the italic handwriting program is really, really good. But then when they start getting into cursive, they want to take instead of doing your traditional cursive letters, in many cases, see the R? It's literally, it looks like a regular R. I don't know, that some people may really like that. So that may appeal to you, because when you learn an R in cursive, it's really different. I really just wanted more of a traditional cursive, because if you get into an R, next to a Y, you have to lift your pencil. And the whole point of cursive is you shouldn't have to lift your pencil as you're writing your letters. So I wanted him to learn the traditional cursive. As people get older, they modify their handwriting, and I do letters where I lift the pencil all the time. So, you know, I figure at least he would learn it the proper way and then tweak later if he wants to. Dr. Bonafide, I figured this would go really well with the science. This came with the kit. It's kind of a random item. I don't know that the science for building blocks even really goes into the human body in this particular one. It tells you the scope and sequence, but I knew we were going to go through the human body. At least I think we are. Okay, biology. There's nothing in there about the human body. But he loves the human body. So even if the book shark science isn't going into the human body, I still wanted to use this because he loves learning about the human body. So there you go. I kind of flipped through it and didn't even look. So here I am. I've got to pull it back out again. Say trapezoid and trapezium 3 times each, then write them on the line. So they get to write the words, so they'll learn how to spell them. That's interesting. And they actually learn the actual names for these parts. Distal carpals. Okay. Ooh, 3D glasses. Okay, well, this looks fun. Famous figures of the American Revolution. We used the one for ancient history when we did Book Shark last year, and this is a great hands-on visual thing to do with your kids through history, and so I was so excited to see that Timberdoodle included this. You literally cut them out and you punch the holes and you use brads, the little brass brads, to fasten these parts to the figure, and then they have a physical figure representing the the people that they're learning about. The other one gave a little informational piece about them, and I'm not seeing that with this one. But they have 2 of each figure. One is colored, the other one they can color, so they can do either or both in these. But it's just, again, anything that's hands-on really appeals to me. They always include a test practice, so this is a nice way to review what they've learned, or just to get them ready for standardized testing, or if you're just curious to see if they could do well on standardized testing, this is always included. She's done, finally. Okay. So I broke this up into 2 videos because obviously it's a lot. But because they sent us the full kit, I was able to give you my thoughts on the items and show them to you in the kit. And so hopefully you found this, informational and helpful. So if you have any questions, please leave them below. I will link to any videos that I think might be helpful that I've referenced as we've gone through this.